Maku, Ogenamite, Eyotolo Saya Dagoni, Astogun Suza, Estagion Damisagiroko, Ona Odionka, Umalele, Umaleri, Nomadia Echo, Enyana here, Ayan and Nova Robert Nivian, Emonpe, Ona here, the man's worker, or Campo, Oba Nogatendo, Amamiodo, I will look up, a dream on the or Radio Wood, Ada Beckham, or Berequelle. Alamasireke, agogo radio bo, obiagwa enepene, onepera, ona ayagogo zuzagoma. Ohola, Oba Rosa, Osarudazi, Erebiawa, Oba Losagua Pamina, Oba Nedonugori, no toilet gafo, Oba Nevava not bia Ubanedo, Oba Roha, Ekmezekme, Benizeli, Ogogogonia Nedoye, Ubu Quake Sogman, Oba Man in Prequenica. Alekenimia ode, very back a very mose, Uboya Gusegili, Nigga Mamosa, Igbe Bisan Roti and Nibwe. Obugamorina, Nuna Yibulubiti Dwagaya, Ulogo Norazin, Yale Mumbasela, Ne, Oste non Pequa, Willy Berry. Gally will get the Wang Moses sister. I remember I used to be calling on the Weko, Otari Midoko, Toka. Togina, Kuduku Hene, Opedo Abetuana, Oli Glory, O Gloti, Esilipote, a Peremon, a Dowa Yagopase, a Quatabian, Eolibiarimo, I said Molioba, Oba Hene, Doye Kaguasare, Ezimigolo, Ogino Yemila, any do what Panica or Mudianabaya Bedoma, Wadiania Bosman, Ero, Orobo. Agibere, Iberu Kebenana, lawful living in the Dionica body. Nebonube, or what Igito Visiyo. A coma biaba, Umanige, Wagima, Ubiona, Munebimaro, Edoro Dion. The last your boy Toya got passing a redo, Nivet the Yosa Kedenica, Edo, Nosayo Pima, Nedo, Amamuna, or Yora Kenake, or not the Olivia Ona ife Musa Nepeku. Edo le Kaya Sudo, Kotagmo ya no titia ye na yamu Ibola, Yuji, ye, Ekonyeme, Gogon, when you were Utome when Papa. No more, no Yebe Yamede, you are better on Dugi, Yaro Mogu. A pede hanyam ye, Pie match, who go to offer, Oga will present young ye, Nubioba, Yaro Panos and Epeku, Nede, a woman, a red over. Edenedeyo, Egbapa Nedonama, Efumahu, Koma Kigeli, Kemobo Kemowe, Kemanitwapa Yabazi Gedagu, Yanabe, Yaduba, Mama, Benica, Hunda, I love Benica, who Yatu Elia. Eliana de Nia Yaruedo, Naya Dobikomi, Ebibina Zero. Sono Bobo, the Banya Domande Soton, Toto ukunte upama. E malegno egogo uku seke ni tani yana la so ohen so mene. Do mi komi. Awu rome benuge. E gada yara hali. Uglemone aka mongi zedu nugekie. Udwa mona asi tuke daho. Oh, elaba. Oh, elaba. Oh, elaba. Abugyo elaba. Abugyo elaba. Abugyo elaba. Ugirato afurufuru. Bogu kale mo na ko na zele ni jita. Ogi na be. Oba la do bere. E do bi wa we ise isona wa mi o na. Ai tu udumite panokweko. Emu bienire gwa ge mena akpepe agbeja. Erumi aleke kenaho. Begwa gaho. Ko gaho tiga tipo naho. Eja sinu ro na be nemu. Gbijare na bedo. Izene odene dene ne de baba. Eja na akara. Iya ma wege. Ijare no no ba. Edo gwa okwiri tobi. Ili na kamo sene no le de mera ka we ona sie. Na na ya pika o kama ya o pera rekwe o hengwe no egelede ugera igbomadelio taona ya kaka o ka no ari tu ho pemu le ma no ga o tori fure umia o na ya ba e wa ba kumas aemi o pe aemi o bien pe e bona do za siene ye do na te gete eyo kini ko na zi ye na mo ku ijobe e mo ta sa no go ba iga ti oba no bi olose obi obe ke obi wu na emi enwa adegi ti owa yo awota unume hinyare oba egbarie obugie oge na nya mogun otu ekene so ge ni gbo ba de doyi eni ge ya kere do ya do mogun ibi edo irisi wa ye bisi wi wa ye kian se ni nepetu inu wa ye iyale wara yore to gyan degi na o so ibere bona eruwa le yuwa mi waya ede umogun ni awewa bugi ni awewa yare edo polo oba polo suge no yiga te no mi re do masedo iwowo ra ro maso obo kien ni no kien mi la no fa obo akengwa no give every ra ere dia wa ti ma kien mi la no fa ni na iga sa konde eti otama obi mi la no fa edo ibi te si o kene na de wari yere ori ai wo to membore no membore ewu se ọ̀la hu bàkàbàkà wò máma nọ ọwọ́ ìdè ẹ̀gbọ́n náà ẹ̀la mi gbọ́ rẹ̀ ìfẹ́ ẹ̀dọ́ ẹ̀gbà tí màá ya ìfẹ́ ẹ̀gbà ìwẹ́sọ̀ mọ̀gùn ó dòdò nẹ́gbàsà ọ̀gbùgbè ìyá rẹ̀ ó dòdò nẹ́gbàsà ọba àtọ́pẹ́ rẹ̀ ìfẹ́.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Nedo tang be water. We have to. This will have to be done with. It's a quite. It's a quite a very important lecture that we're about to receive today. It's very, very, very important. So for some of us, for some past few weeks now, we've not been talking about history, and I promised some certain persons that our history class should resume honestly so that we can talk strictly on our historical classes. Today we're going to talk about history that some persons or some of our people are not very conversant with, some of our people are not aware of, and that's why a whole lot of people have been misled to by. We've been given early antecedent. A lot of us have been misled to believing some stories that might not be true. So in the next 2 months, we're going to be discussing basically on the foundations of the origins of the Edo people. So from there, in the next 2 months, I presume, before the end of next 2 months, a lot of Benin people will be so much aware of how they were created, some of the names that has outlived them, and some of the names that uh, that quite seem alien to some of our people. So these are some of the basic things we're going to be looking at, foundational Benin history. So we're going to sit tight, and by God's grace, by next week, we're going to be introducing telephone conversations. A lot of people have been trying to ask me questions, and most especially when we are in our historical classes, a lot of persons will want to contribute to calls, and so I'm going to be open on the telephone line for next week. It's not going to be every class. It's going to be strictly on historical classes where people can call through and ask questions. It's really going to be very important. But before we start, basically, the press conference that we delivered yesterday is quite very important. That I said a whole lot of things. It was quite very bogus. It was about 8 pages. But I want to read something. One of the most important parts of the entire press conference. A lot of people, a lot of the print media that covered our press conference tried to bring some things that, to me, are just there, not really that very too important to me as a person. As a person, I'm talking. So, in the entire press conference that I delivered yesterday, there is something that is really very important. Number 2 of it is really, really very important, and I feel that when I was putting the piece together or the pieces together, it was very quite emotional when I was putting it together 3 days ago, and so I'm going to read it again for us to understand very clearly, and because I have to read it quite very fast during the course of the press conference. For some of you who want to get a soft copy of the press conference, you let me know. I can always make it available. We have a soft copy. I'm going to read it now so that people can get it. So you're going to take it very slowly. I'm going to take it very slowly so that we can get all of these things very clearly. Now, that part of the press conference that is really very important to me is this. A lot of questions have been asked as to the backbone of the old kingdom of Benin, how our imperial ancestors had sway in the thick of the old times, built a very intimidating kingdom which was highly revered by far and near. There were elements that made it practically impossible for such feats to have been attained. The consequences, listen very well, the consequences of deviating from such vital attributes or elements have made our people to be who we are today. So I was hearing it saying that there were elements, there were virtues, there were reasons why our ancestors was able to build the civilization that they built in the old times. Now we have deviated from those attributes. The consequences is that we are now who we are today. We are not able to measure up to the standard of the old because we have deviated from those elements, from those virtues that our ancestors had. The Benin Oba presided over the political, traditional, and administrative affairs of his people with the council of elders, Uzamaniyon, the state councillors, Erawonohe and Erawonogbe, Enigi, who helped in taking care of the periphery of the vast kingdom in forms of dukes. Ojonwehe, who by native laws and customs of the Edo land solicits and through his fellow elders gave structured leadership to his communities. What I am really saying that aside the Oba of Benin, there were classes of organizations that the Benin had. You had the Ejon, who were the kingmakers as at that time of history. Then you have the state councillors. You have Egawonogbe, Egawonohe, presided by Iyase of Benin. Then you now have Egawonogbe, presided by Nwangu. All right? These were part of the organization structures that the Benin had. Then you now have the Enige, who helped in taking care of the periphery. The major reason that Enige, the dukedom system, was created is because Oba cannot be everywhere. So he created a dukedom system so that some of the nobles or some of the princes can help him, can help take the ideology of the central government to these periphery of Benin Kingdom. And the Ojonwe, who by native laws and customs of the Edo land, solicit and through his fellow elders gave structural leadership to his community. All right? Ihe is the plural of Ohe. Ihe, they help the Oba maintain spiritual guidance. That's why I've always been saying it. That's a function. That's a function of the Ohe. Their function is not to sell lands. It's not to sell lands. Their function is that they help the Oba maintain spiritual guidance through the deities and sanctify the land in times of infractions through propitiations. Like there are a lot of infractions going on out there now. There's a lot of social media menace. These were supposed to be the job of the hen. These were supposed to be the things you're supposed to be doing. Now, the Egele, plural is called Igele. Protect the land, the laid down values of our land, and enforce sanctions. Now, listen to this very clearly. Selflessness was one of the greatest attributes of an Edo man. It was a pride in the past to render these services to the kingdom without expectation of any form of recompense. So in the old, it was all about selflessness. Without having any idea that it was not about recompense. In the old, nobody was interested to be paid to defend the history, to defend the sacrosanctity of our land. It was about selflessness, and it was absolute. All right? So that's what here he's talking about. He said, selflessness was one of the greatest attributes of an Edoma. It was a pride in the past to render these services to the kingdom without expectation of any form of recompense. It foils the patriotic abilities of every Edo man, and through this, in tandem with the structured organization of the Edo people, a civilization was built, and the Edoma had those attributes that are almost a rarity in the market as of today. These virtues are no longer common in every Edoma as of present. Truth, another virtue. Truth, another virtue. Just a minute. Truth. He prides himself in the ability to speak truth to whoever, irrespective of highly placed. The services of the Edoma was sought after. I will repeat. Truth in the live program. Truth. He prided himself in his ability to speak truth to whoever, irrespective of how highly placed. The services of the Edoma were sought after because of this virtue. Because of that virtue, people sought after great Edo men because they have a virtue of telling the truth as against all odds. All right? Today, our society has largely eroded from these common virtues of selflessness, patriotism, and truth in pursuit of riches and fame. These dignifying qualities are now found in a handful of Edo people. Community leaders, all right, now sacrifice their integrity for wealth, now fight their brothers for foreigners. Our values have not been eroded, hence the growing madness of our people on social media space. They now desecrate the traditions of our land without remorse. Abominable words are now found daily on their lips. If we all don't collectively stand to fight these growing trends of our very much depleted values of our people, who might someday be a people without tradition and culture. Every Edo person must rise to fight those drifting from what made an Edoma what it was in the time past. To us, as a group, this is what is really important, the survivor of our race. By the instance of this press conference, we are pleading with our Royal Majesty to look into these things that we have outlined. Edo is fast disengaging from the values that made us Edo. So to me, that was the most important of the entire press briefing that I give. Pressmen are usually not interested in things like this, but these are the things that made us in the past who we are. Selflessness, patriotism, truth. Cheers. Today we're going to be talking about a very important topic. It's going to be in bits per bit per bit. It could go on to be up to part 5. But today is part 1. Today we're going to be talking about Paidu. Who is Paidu? A lot of persons have been as trying to give a lay antecedent. I heard Igbo people now and I say that Idu is an Igbo man. Well, at the end of the program, we're going to be having facts to say that whether it's an Igbo man, whether it's a Benin man, then after Paidu, they will not talk about Paidu's 3 sons. All right, Akka, Efa, Emehi. And how Paidu, Akka, Efa, and Emehi was able to bring about what we now call ubini, igodomigodo, and Edo. So these are going to be topics that is going to transcend between the pre-Ogiso era or the pre-dynastic era of the Edo history, through the Ogiso era, through the interregnum, then to then to the Oba dynasty, the present dynasty. So we're going to be looking a lot of these things in a very open manner. All right, I would have opened the line today so that calls can come through, so that it can be very interacting. It can be very interacting. I did a documentary that I think all of you should go look for that documentary. The documentary is self-explanatory. The documentary was about Uhe versus Ile-Ife. That documentary is on this platform. Look for it. It's a documentary. It has part 1, it has part 2. Uhe versus Ilef. I talk so much elaborately, citing from old archival materials, citing from majorly from the works of late Professor OSB Omoyege, and I cited a whole lot of things from his work because he did one of the most extensive. Okay, another person, Benin historian, that did quite an extensive work on the pre-Oguso era was late Chief D.N. Onsaye. All right, late D.N. Onsaye. He did another very extensive works, but however, why I've not been using most of D.N. Onsaye's works was that he so much believed that the Benins are from Egypt. All right, that's what he believes. I do not agree with that. Neither did Obairidia of blessed memory agree with that too. So I do not agree with that. And so I decided to stick with the works of Professor O.S.B. Omoyege, who has they both have an indigenous idea of the Benin history. All right, it's just that one try to find a way, by virtues of what he was passed down to look at how Idu as a person came about, while the other one was just trying to connect, while the other one was trying to connect the other history to Egypt, to far away Egypt. And what is Paidu? Not much is written about Paidu. Not much is written about him. Not much of documentation is written about him. But what we know about Paidu is that he was the very first man that the legends of Benin history remember to have bettered all the children, that eventually formed a place called Benin Kingdom. No. Please, I don't want anybody to get distracted. All right. I'm sure I'm going to be blocking people. All right. If you make any other notes, I'm going to be blocking people. Now, I don't want us to get distracted. This is not the time to bring Biafra or Igbo. This is a Benin platform. So let's concentrate on our Benin history and forget about Biafra talk. Let's not get distracted about it. Let's follow. Let's follow the story or the history. Let's follow it as best as we can and see how much we can talk about today before we round up. I have about an hour or so to round up this class per se. Now, understand this. Not much was written about Paidu. All right, Elvis David, I just told you you shouldn't reply that guy. Do not. Okay, he has to go now. All right, it's blocked. So don't get all right. Don't get distracted about anybody. Anybody who comes here, you can come and learn. If you do not agree with what I say, you can leave. But if you insult anybody on this platform, I will block you. All right, I'll block you. No, this isn't a mysterious fireball. Just well, it's not. All right. There is the oldest songs that gives the birth or the origin of Idu has been sung over the years, and it is from there we drew clarity of the post births of Idu. The song stated it clearly that Otogbe, Otalaka, Evanyana Bidu, Otogbe, Otalaka, Evanyana Bidu. Get it very clearly. So we're going to, a lot of persons do not understand. The platform will give you concept of understanding. Otogbe is different from Otogalaka. Otogbe, Otogalaka evanyana bidu. Do you get? Ihimi na ya bu ogbe, ya bu alaka. Among the 33 premium towns or quarters of Benin, Ogbe is separated from Alaka. Get this, Ogbe is different from Alaka. All right? They are neighboring quarters. When I mean Idun Yoto, Idun Ogbekun. Ogbekun was a neighboring quarter of Ivioto. So when Igodo, the first Ogisoro of Benin, migrated from his maternal quarter, which was Idun Ivioto, he moved to the adjacent quarter, which was Ogbe. These were separate community. We use quarter by the modern day parlance, but in old times they were all different villages because Ihimi, Oridadoge, Ayabue, all of these places. Okay? So what we are saying is that Otogbe, Otalaka, that means what the Benin man is trying to explain to us to understand is that Idu is partly Ogbe and partly Alaka. Do you get? So that is, Idu is either paternally Ogbe or Alaka, or maternally Ogbe or Alaka. We do not know where his father came from. We do not know where his mother came from, in any of these two villages. But what the legend tells us is that Otogbe, Otalaka, Evaniana Bidu. So paternally, maternally, it's from both Ogbe and Alaka. Get this clear. Ogbe and Alaka are two villages that existed on their own separately. Ihimi naya boyan. Ihimi Ogbe yero. Ihimi aga Alaka yero. Ihimi naya Ogbe. In the 30 pilgrimage sites that another Kawe, how do I put it? Someone that has been newly installed as a Haimoba, the 13 sites that he must visit. Otogbe is the third site that he must visit. After Awe Diendo, you go to Awe Menede. Then after Awe Menede, you now go to Awe Otogbe. Ihimi Naya Bugbe. Or Yerewa. I know that ihimi tree. So in other words, we are talking about an ihimi tree that is over 5,000 and 10,000 years ago. Do you get? The history that I'm talking about now is not even during Ogiso's time. It's pre-Ogiso. The history is older than the kingship. That is the story I'm telling you now. It was later on, these two separate villages now begins to grow, expand, and conjoined at a point. And Ekenia Evana Bagbe, where the Alaka and the Ogbe met, there is a shrine on Ihimina Boyewa. It is called Ogbe Nalaka. That is the meeting point of these two separate villages, these two separate community, these two separate quarter. Kenya Evana Bagbe, the meeting point, the conjoined point is called Ogbe Nalaka. Get it clear? Ogbe Nalaka is different from Ogbe Laka. Understand something? These things are technical. I want us to get it. So if you are here, you don't have a barrel and a paper, you are missing because you might forget all of these things. These things took years to master. This thing took years to master. So Alaka is different from Ogbe. The point at which Alaka meets Ogbe is called Ogbe Na. There is an ending. Ogbe Na Laka. There is a shrine built there. For some of you who are very conversant with Ogbe Na Laka streets, opposite Ekyoba, the back of Ekyoba Market. There's a street opposite it. On the Ukbo. Now, the Alaka streets all a side egwai with the right hand side. Like the palace is surrounded by 4 roads. The front row is Adesogbe. Then the left part of the palace is Airport Road. Then the back of the palace is Ezoti Street. Then the right-hand side of the palace is called Alaka. Alaka meant with Plymouth Road. Or making Plymouth now separate Yafian Alaka Gbera. The right-hand side of the extension of Alaka Road is now called Ubini Alaka because in the old it was a meeting point between these two separate communities or villages. Villages. And that meeting point, Ana Bahini Ewa, Ana Hewa, Ubini Alaka. Get that. This was the instrument of the foundations of where eventually all of what we now call the Edo people started. But don't get it clearly. It's not as if the earliest Benin people were at Alaka and Ogbe. No. The oldest place that humans were found in Benin is called Iduin-Vyoto. It's the oldest place. Ekenewake Zokbabedo is Iduin-Vyoto. That is what it means. Emani-Yato, Iduonrian. The genesis. All right? The genesis of our race started from Iduin-Vyoto. They migrated towards other villages from Iduin-Vyoto. So some left to Alaka, some left to Ogbe, some left to Uhuindun. But Uhuindun became, Iduin-Vyoto cannot be say upper. It takes a larger chunk. It's almost, Iduin-Vyoto Maladian Wapa. Maladian Wapa, Ugbekon Ladian Wapa. Iduin-Vyoto is the side of Sapler Road. Why the other side of Sapler Road, no more the upper Sakomba or Ugbekon. Iduin-Vyoto Rieke Uduin Ugbekon. You get it clear? That's why I say they are adjacent. They have you don't know Iduin-Vyoto. Iduin-Vyoto is all those areas from I want to get it clearly. I might not be really too sure where it started, but all those areas between Uwa, Akese Dumez, all those areas between Uwa, Yasere Diawa. All right. I did my primary 6. I did how's it called? My entire sports then. I used to do all my entire sport. Okay, I did my primary 6 exam at Ubekom. But I used to do all my entire sports from all my entire sport was done at who's calling now? I'm trying to end your call. I did all my entire sport was done at what's it called? Iduin-Vyoto Primary School at along Area. All right. Iduin-Vyoto has always been there. Some of you knows Ituan Grammar School. All of those areas. Yeah, say Chief Ebon's house is at Iduin-Vyoto. Ebon's house is at Iduin-Vyoto. You know, I'm just trying to use prominent people that stays at Iduin-Vyoto. Iduin-Vyoto, that's where Chief Ebon's house. Those areas, Ave Dumez, all of these areas. Yeah, you know, to almost Goroti, almost getting to Goroti and all of that, all of those areas, covering those areas. But Omaladian Wapa, the other side of the upper, Noduladian Wapa is Ugbekun, all right? Because Iduin-Vyoto is adjacent to Ugbekun. Exactly, our Loan, those Aloan are Iduin-Vyoto areas, all right? At one point in time, the Benin people have to self-fund archaeological excavations to be properly done, because archaeological excavations that were done in a place that were areas surrounding the palace. But that is not the place that our history started from. Places like Iduin-Vyoto, places like Ugbeko has to do massive excavations because that's where Benin started from. The race started from. So it is from Iduin-Vyoto people started to move to Alaka, to Ogbe, to Obi, to Bekum, to Humidun. There are about 33, all right? There are about 33 of those premium communities that made up present-day Benin City. Well, Obioba Derek, uh, Obioba Derek, you should always understand that one thing is otherwise always believed is that do not, do not, when you have an idea about something, allow people to accept your idea for what your idea is. Don't make people feel that you're forcing those ideas upon them, otherwise it will not sell. I believe in the great Benin country, but I don't think everybody believes in it. But you cannot force it on people's neck. And I do not believe that might be one of the ways, and there might also be other ways. So we should be very diplomatic, not forceful. Not forceful, be very diplomatic. So I respect you, Brother Derek. So like I was saying, these are about the foundations. People can do agitations for creation of Benin country. I will always support. But my duty, my duty is to educate our people. The educations that they get from my platform, that should be your concentration to get, because in the race to liberate Benin people from having their country, you must be educated enough to defend. You must be educated enough to defend your Benin history. All right. You must be educated enough to debate. That's where you come and learn. All right. That's where you come and learn history. When you not know history, you cannot go and advocacies. All right. Most of the revolutionists are very educated people, and they are quite very equipped with the history of their land. So this is my own role. My own role is to ensure that everybody is well equipped to not do whatever they want to do with that knowledge. Is left for anybody who wish to learn from here. So I think we all have different roles. That's my role, and I love that role. Meanwhile, I tell about no, Chris. I don't comment on issues like that. I don't comment on issues like that. I don't discuss anybody on my social media space. I just go ahead and concentrate. This is an history class. Let's discuss history. Oh no. Okay. Exactly. But okay, let's go. It's getting very interesting. It's getting very, very pretty interesting. Now that's why I've been able to establish 3 things that people should take home, or 4 things. Even if I decide to say, okay, everybody should go home, let's wait for next class on Sunday. First, Otogbo Talaka, Ewaniana Bidu. Idu was birthed here. So all those gibberish from there, it was Idu was in Egypt, or Idu was in where is in Israel or whatever. They connect. The Benin history should not be connected to the Bible. All right, who's calling and calling? All right, it should not be connected to the Bible. All right, our indigenous idea of our Benin history is that Emana Bidu, who is his father, who is his mother, the legends cannot know. The legends cannot know. That is why Bible, in order for Bible not to have issues, that is why they just say God created Adam and Eve. Otherwise, if they said it was Adam and Eve that is the father of all the world, people would have still asked, who is the father of Adam and Eve? If you also bring the father of Adam and Eve, people will say, ask, who still born those people? But what the Benin history can remember, that Idu was born in our land, in present-day Benin City. Not anywhere. And where it was born, the history remember, all right, he is a native of both Ogbe and Alaka. He's a native. That's not true. I will answer that kind of question. I will answer that kind of question much later. That's not true. Or that Lavizier and all of that. I've seen people ask about that, but AOB, when I'm almost done with my class, then you can bring that question again. So we'll trash that one at 2. Okay. So exactly. So, like I was saying, it is very, very, very important for us to now understand all of these things. These are the points that we must take. First, the history remembers that Paidu, our progenitor, was born in Oto, he was born in Alaka, and Ogbe. These were the two communities. Now, Ogbe and Alaka, I've said, is the meeting point, all right? Is the meeting point between Alaka and Ogbe. Ogbe Nalaka. Ogbe Nalaka. Now, there's another one that is very popular. Ogbe Laka and Igbe Moba. Those were not formed. Ogbe Laka was later formed during the reign that is believed to be at the time of Obaesigie. That is believed to be at the time of Obaesigie. So that was these three words. The Alaka, the Ogben Alaka is not a community, it's a conjoint point. It's just like you get that mathematics when you draw circle. When they call that mathematics, you draw circle, you can't draw circle. Then when one circle enter the other circle, we call that point, we call it intersection. Intersections of circles. All right? When one circle enter another circle. There's a word we use, that particular mathematics. When circle enter inside another circle, that point when circle enter another circle, it's called intersections. That's what Ogben Alaka means. It's an intersection between Alaka and sets. Exactly. Bring the work where sets. There's a mathematics called sets when a cycle intersects with another cycle. That's what the Ogben Alaka. Ogben Alaka is not independent of its own. It's like an intersection, a point where these two villages met. All right? Exactly. That's what Ogben Alaka is. And that is also distinct from Ihiminaya Boalaka, from Ihiminaya Bogbe, Utogbe, Olugan, Otalaka. But on the Kinoto, Ogbe Walaka, that's Ogbe Nalaka. But Oyunenati Ogbe Laka existed many years later. Please, let us understand these things basically, because understanding this foundation of this history will make us come in. That's the topic. This topic that I just started today is going to take almost 8 weeks for us to be done. All right? It's going to Evido Sas also. Take it. I'm coming to Akka. Akka is one of the sons of Idu, Paidu. Now, so let's get these things very clearly and very straightforward. Okay? So that's about the first stage. Then I went further to say that it is not Alaka and Ogbe that the race of the Benin people started from. Do you understand? It started from Iduin Yoto. Whether the evolution of the Benin man started from Iduin Yoto. Okay? Whether the evolution of a Benin man started from Iduin Yoto. All right? That is where it started from. Then it is from Iduin Yoto what happened is calls are coming through, so I have to end it. So it's distracting me a lot. If I don't end the call, it might affect my network. That other Benin people begin to move. All right? To Ogbe, to Alaka, to Ubi. In our next Sunday, I should remind myself to give you the list of the 33 premium villages. 33 villages that started Benin City. 33. So I'm not able to remember quite a lot of it because it was a long time I read about it. Yeah, 33 no. Alaka is one of them. We are talking about the 33 oldest communities in Benin Kingdom. There were 33. Alaka is one of them. Ogbe is one of them. Iyoto is one of them. Ubekun is one of them. Utantan is one of them. Ubi is one of them. Like that. There are 33. I have a long way to go, so I won't be able to remember. But these were the 33 premium towns. Okay? These were the 33 premium towns. But the first of these 33 that became a more of like a mega city. A more of like a mega city. So that's why I say take biro and paper. These are foundation. Exactly. Uzebo was one of the premium towns. You're correct. If you are listing it, I should be able to now remember. Data raw, I will remember. Uzebo is one of them. It's one of the premium towns. Now, the premium town is one of the villages, the first 33 villages. Out of these 33 first villages, the first one to attain the township idea, nado that Ayoyadweki, sort of, that it now looks like a mega, was called Uhumidun. Exactly, Enyanuge was one of them. Enyanuge was one of them. Enyanuge is where this guy came from. Evian, the patriarch of the Ogiamen family. Evian was a native of Enyanuge. It's one of the most prominent Enyanuge. They are originally from the Ogiamen family. They are originally from Enyanuge because the patriarch of the Ogiamen family called Evian is from Enyanuge. He was a blacksmith at Enyanuge. So Enyanuge was one of the premium 33 villages. Now, of these 33 villages, the premium town, the one that attained the concept of township among these 33 of them, was called Uhumidun. What Uhumidun means, the premium town, is the first town amongst the 33 of the villages. The premium town. That is why A moved the capital. It's just like when Nigeria was moving the capital, first it was in Calabar, from Calabar to Lagos, from Lagos to Abuja. And there were reasons. Now, when Ogisoye came to the throne, he knew Uhumidun by the vantage point. You understand? It has a vantage point down a flat land like Ugbekun. So Amo Kodiedo, the capital city, should be in a vantage point where you can be able to see enemies coming to the capital. So that is why he moved that's one of the reasons, though. That's not the only reason. We could talk about the other reasons he moved it from Ugbekun. All right? He moved it from Ugbekun to Uhumidun. That is a palace. Okay? All right. But because one of the reasons was there, because there was a bubbling town. Now you know I've been and I'll say where things for the happen. Now there things for the happen. This story with the talk now like 5,000 years ago. So, but are there things that happen that time? All right. No. Uselu is a modern term. Uselu is not part of it. Uselu is a modern. It's during the Oba era that those areas were created. It was called Oyesunu. All right, Oyesunu. Uselu was a word that was introduced during the time of Baisige. All right, during the travails of Quinidia. So that's when Uselu was created. So those are not part of the 33 original towns. Original villages, right? Town. Of Benin. So we now have a background. We now have a background knowledge. Ogboka, exactly. Ogboka is one of the oldest and one of my favorites. I always want to remember that video. I always want to remember that. Oronigbes were no. All this were not created then. We're not. Those are peripheries. We're not talking about peripheries. We are talking about Benin City, Kinaite, Owedo. The premium towns are made of it. I'm not too sure for horror, but Ogboka was there. Okay, Maro. How did they sing that song? Who can help me sing it? Naya Boedu. Naya Bogboka. I'm Ugbogodo. There are no hills. Ugbogodo means there are no valleys. Okay, Ugbogodo. Okay is hills. Then valleys is Ugbogodo. Ogboka is another legendary ancient site that archaeological excavation can be carried out, because in Ogboka, we call it the plains of Ogboka, because that's where Akka and emehi settled. They settled on the plains of Ogboka. When the Benin population had left the present-day Benin and traveled up north, when they were returning, where they now stayed when they returned is now the present-day Ogboka. Emoke, Emugbogodo is a town that has no single hill. There are no convolutions. When they do to a hill now, Okero, Ogbogodo, it's just plain. You can see it from, you can be seeing your enemy from afar. Okay. No, you are very safe, pretty Jason. We don't do negativities here. There are no bad spirits here. We just talk about what about the Wabanosa? Wabanosa not born in Nigeria. I know the story of Wabanosa. I can tell you the story. Now, I've laid the background. Now we now know the origin of Paidu. The origin of Paidu has now been established. Nobody should ask me who is his father, who is his mother. I don't know. No Benin human beings know. They are no history. The history of the Benin people did not go beyond Paidu. Or I started from Paidu. But there were records how Paidu was born. There were records how Paidu was born. And there were also records where Paidu parents came from. They came from Ogbe and Alaka. So, the indigenous evolution of the Benin history has already portended that Idu is an indigenous son of the Edo people. So, the alien antecedents, wipe that out. Idu or Edo. In forever argument, Eimidu establishes all of the controversies around Idu. By the time I get to Eimidu, then I will not explain why Eimidu, how Eimidu was formed, and why that only few persons. Eimidu is the first shrine that was established in Edo land. In case you don't know, not Usagbaye, not Olokun, is Eimidu. And why that Idu is only propitiated by the Edo people, and not Ayemanimiya. Igbo does not have any shrine named Eimidu. All right? Igbo does not have any shrine called Eimidu. Neither any other places. It is the Benin people or guy. And now, in recent times, it is now restricted to only the royal house. And I will tell you all of those reasons why it is now, in present times, it is now restricted only to the royal house. Like I said, this topic is going to take 8 weeks for us to completely break it down. So we have to be taking it step by step, because I don't want here if I come back tomorrow, after I don't pass this Idu, maybe I don't enter Akka, person will come say, who be Idu? All right? Who be Idu? I don't know whether you understand. Now we deal with Idu now. We're not even started dealing with Idu. This is just a periphery. This is the beginning of Idu. The later years of Idu, we're going to talk about it as the program continues. All right, but now we've had a background study of the origin of Idu, that Idu was born in Edo land, because there is a parable or an ancient word statement established called Utogbe Utalaka Ivaniana Bidu Ivani Utogbe Utalaka Ivaniana Bidu Rame Ivaniana Bidu Rame Ivaniana Bidu. A lot of us, we've been listening to that songs, but we have failed to understand, acknowledge what it means. Songs, before the evolution of bronze castings, artifacts, oh sorry, not artifact, now, bronze castings, why we like artifact? Before the evolution of bronze castings, there were other methods that the Benins were using to keep history. The methods that the Ugoron Guild use in keeping history. Ugoron, I've said it before what Ugoron means. Ugorons are ancient keepers. Ugorons were the keepers of our history. The methods they used in keeping the history was through oral documentation, passage of oral history from one generation to another, and secondly, through songs and dances. I've told you that there was I've told you that if we can be able to bring all of our songs, if we can be able to remember all of our old songs, and we can be able to remember all of our old dances, we can be able to now start unveiling some old history of Edo land. I'll give you a story of when Dr. Aisha Hagosa was documenting some works on Obai Hengbuda. I did a documentary on Nebo TV on Obai Hengbuda. Go and look for that documentary on Nebo TV, Obai Hengbuda. You get more details from it. But I just want to pick how dances can be used in interpreting history, how songs can be used in interpreting history, most especially our Edo history. Now, there was a school of thought, basically. There was a school of thought that says that Obai Hengbuda on his way to Lagos disappeared into heavens. He ascended into heaven. That is what some early historians, most especially our historians, they always like mythology. But it's not bad. It's not bad. See, when I was with Iyase the other time, I think we talked about this. We had this topic. We talked about it. It was very, it was very funny. So I was telling Iyase that Obai Hengbuda did not go to heaven, no, that he drowned. Sorry, that he drowned. Iyase, Oba Bini cannot drown. Sorry, I'm mortal. But that's what I read. I'm mortal. You know. Iyase coded me, but I try to let him know that there is a dance now where during the Igwe festival, if you're not aware, that dance is called Ikoludo. Ikoludo. Oludo is spelled as Oludo. Ikoludo is an Oludo dance. You understand? How that Oludo dance is danced is go and experience. You can get history from dances and songs. This is a very good example. Ikoludoni, 2 lines are created. Where 2 lines in it, I do real boy fan. If hands are placed on the shoulders, first line, the other lines, the Ikoludo. So the other ones are also placed. 2 lines are created. So they are now resting their hands on the shoulders. Then you see them now swaying left, right, left, right. They are swaying so that this line doesn't want the other line to fall. This other line doesn't want us to fall. Now, that dance was quoted to have been created during Obai Hengbuda's time. So historians now begin to carefully watch that dance and said it was how the Benins were trying to explain what happened when the boats that Obai Hengbuda was traveling on to Lagos. It was just few days before he got to Lagos. Then the wind, I don't know what could have happened, but when the boat was about to capsize, in order for the Benin people to keep balance, all right, they were swaying left. The people in the boat, because the wind or whatever could have been taking the boat, in order to keep balance, they were swaying left and right to get balance. Eventually, the boat capsized and Oba Benin ascended to heaven. And that one, but the truth is, the Oludo dance revealed what had transpired. The Benins could not tell that story because it was not a palatable story. Instead, they now encoded that story in dance. In order for us not to interpret it as to what really happened, we either use songs or we use dances to pass the message. So that is why I said that the songs and the dances have a equal no saya wedo. The Edo people were blessed with 201 songs and dances. Where are those 201 songs and dances? If we are able to get all of these 201 songs and dances, we can be able to extract a lot of history from all of these. So when we say that the song Utogbo Talakaiwanyana Bidu is a song that was used in telling the origin of our supposedly progenitor. Our supposedly progenitor. You understand that kind of thing? So today, what time is it? My time. Okay, I'm almost rounding up now. You know, I don't do my live classes for more than an hour, 30 minutes. So I'm almost done now. So, but we've been able to get something very clearly. Don't worry, the class is going to take 8 weeks, but I want us to get it very clearly, very well. So that first I've been able to establish that songs and dances can be used to tell our history. All right, and I gave an example. I gave 1, I gave 2. Maybe next class I might give 3, I might give 4. How songs and dances were used in telling our stories. All right, acts was not the later instrument. After the songs and dances were no longer deemed too accurate enough to tell our stories, arts were now used in documenting our story. All right. Okay, that's one of it. Arts were now used to document our stories. Okay. Now, I wanted to say something really very important, but I think I will remember. Let me drink water. Cheers. One. So that's it. We've been able to establish the origin where Ido was born. All right. Now, in our next class, next Sunday, we will not talk about what led to Ido migrating from present-day Benin land to somewhere we now call Uhe in present-day Kogi State. And therefore, I will not establish that Uhe, that Idu died and was buried, was not Ile-Ife. We're talking about over 5,000 years ago. The story that I'm telling you now, what led to Idu migrating from Benin, how he settled at a place he named Uhe in present-day Kogi State, and how he created a shrine, and how his children were being discriminated on, the likes of Akka, emehi, and they had to return back to their very original place of origin. All right, which is Benin. Okay, then we'll not talk about his first son, Akka. We'll not talk about his second son, Efa. We'll not talk about his third son, Emehi. All right. Then we'll not talk about his other grandchildren, his nieces, nephews, and cousins. Then after then, we'll not talk about the chief custodian of Paidu Shrine at Uhe, called Azamanuhe. And I will not be able to prove with facts that Azamanuhe, where he was buried, and the staff of authority of Paidu that he took, Ekenabai, every Oba must go there. That present place is at Chief Oluton's compound. If you know Chief Oloton's compound at Isehire, you see a small house in the front of Chief Oloton's house. It is called, you see on top of it, it's called Azamanuhe. Eminari Azamanuhe. Ayabwe imidu. Inari Azamanuhe. Ayabwe imidu. These are mysteries. But sometimes we didn't want to talk about this, but there's a time now that we need to talk about this so that people can be knowledgeable enough and well equipped enough to defend their history, because this is a time that our history has been most threatened. And I promise all of you, at the end of the next 4 to 8 weeks, you will be so equipped with the origin of your history that no bastard from whatever origin can be able to tell you lies. Because the miseries that I have not unveiled before, I'm going to unveil it to you by the leading of the ancestors, so that you can be equipped to know the truth. So that one person cannot come and say Paidu is from the Bible. That man, that old junk man, I debate. I promise him, me and him will see in the debate. Let him come and lie. Those lies. I was sent the video. I saw it. Not the toge. Not the time any I do it. Anyway. That's all of this. On that issues, by the time I'm done in the next 4 to 8 weeks, whoever listens to me and open his or her mind, we know that there are not even supposed to be controversies between Asans and Benins. Because all of these things will cover it. All of these things. All of these 4 to 8 weeks class will cover all of these things. Yeah, from there, you now understand that and primordial sentiment will no longer prevail in the minds of our people, because some feel slighted and some feel they have been embarrassed, some feel that they have been denied. You have a long way to go. You have a long way to go. But the truth is, we will be well equipped to defend our history. A young lady asked a question at the beginning of the class. I said, when we get to AOB, we're done with the topic. On next week Sunday, we'll continue. Don't worry, next week Sunday, we'll have an open line for people to call through. All right? Okay, sorry. A young lady said that the Labiese Greek thing belongs to the Obaseki family, or some people said that Eze Chiman invented where they said where Eze Chima invented the is my voice audible now? Is it better now? Is it better now? Is my voice audible enough now? Is it better now? Okay. Can someone attest to that so that I can continue? I don't know, because calls have been coming through, it could affect the audio. Is the audio good? The audio good? Let me proceed. Otherwise, Perfect. Okay, exactly. Okay. Okay. Let me proceed. A young lady asked a question about the Lavize family. A lot of people have misinterpreted that greeting. Um, um, the Lavize greeting did not start was not named, rather, after Ezechima. Do you know why? It is, I've, see, please, let us listen to this very important aspect of our history that they are deceiving us with. Let us listen very carefully to this history of Ezechima. All right? Um, of Ezechima. Let us listen very carefully. Now, there was a story of Emao Baogbe, Enogie of Ugo. Or Ugo Neki, Ugo ni Korean. Ugo ni Korean. Emao Baogbe was his real name. That is his name. A lot of people doesn't know. I've seen a lot of historians even call him Agbogidi. I've seen a lot of historians call him Agbogidi. During the time of Akenbuda, everyone remember the what's it called? Everyone remember the Adesuwa story. Can we remember the Adesuwa story? Is it Adesuwa? Who was that young lady that Oboroku, the daughter of Izomo? Was it? I think it was Adesuwa, isn't it? Someone someone remind me. I think it was Adesuwa, the story of Oboluku, the Oboluku king, all right, who murdered one of the daughter of Ezomo, was betrothed to Oba Kengbo. I think it's Adesuwa. Now, exactly. Thank you. It was Adesuwa's story. Now, after Adesuwa was murdered, okay, probably before Adesuwa was murdered, Emok Baogbe was born as a child of divination. When he was born, they told him as a child that on no account should he go to the Igbaron River, no Yahweh, or no Sikoe Yeye. That's what he was told as a young prince who is to become the next Enoge. That's what he was told because of the circumstances leading to his birth. Those are not really too important. Because of the circumstances leading to his birth, he was warned never to go near the Igbaron River. But it was. I'll talk about the Ezechima. I'm using one story, why Eddie Brave. I'm using one story to talk about another story. All right, how Ezechima name came. That's why I'm giving you a background story, a background study, so that you now understand how a lot of these things are mixed up. Now, he was warned never to go near to the Igbaron River. Eventually, he was very stubborn, so he went close to the Igbaron River. So he was struck by the deity of Igbaron because Mahambio Ominaya Zigbaron. Ominaya Zigbaron. Let me block this one. Okay, beautiful. So Ominaya Zigbaron. Okay. And I will talk it was Zigbaroni. So I don't want to emiyata. So, but he eventually was stubbornly went to him, but he was struck with a very terrible illness. Now, he visited all of these potent native doctors. None of them was able to cure his ailment. Then, until he was not told that, Ikpakbera ni amere Obo Kingdom. Ana imwebwe Ogiobo. It was there. Herbs were now administered to him. He started getting better. But during that time, there was also a divination that came, that though you will treat this young man, but this same young man will come back to kill you. Ogyobo, always ra, no riegbe yara emokpa ogbe. Alright, emokpa ogbe now got well as a young prince, and he was a very gallant fighter. It was recorded that he fought some wars for even the Obolo king before he eventually went back, because at the time he said he wasn't going to return back because as a Noge, he said after the demise of his father will he return. So he started fighting war for even the Obolo king. So he was now nicknamed Agbohidi. He was called Agbohidi. Agbohidi is not a Benin name. Enyedo, it's those Ika people, or Agbohidi. That is why the present Iseluku king, it's Agbohidi. It's an Ika word that means someone who is brave and strong. So Emokpa Ogbe was nicknamed Agbohidi. Alright, was nicknamed Agbohidi. So when he returned back, he now became the Enoge. Then, years later, Adesuwa was killed. And Benin's Oba Akenguda started to send different war troops to fight the Obolo king. Because of the mysticism surrounding the Obolo king, they could not defeat him. Defeated. Then, no why they can Obolo king in no him no ya degbe or a Mokpa Ogbe. The Oba invited the Mokpa Ogbe and sent him to become the head of the troop, deputized by Imara, who by virtues is the third in command by the military might of the kingdom. So two of them were the head of the troop. The Mokpa Ogbe devised a mace that the Benins used in defeating the Obolo king, and his head was severed and brought to the Oba of Benin. But what thing that happened? Imara now took the glory of Emokpa Ogbe. Because of that anger that I had helped the Oba of Benin to kill that man who trained me. Then another person now took the glory of my own victory and now declared a war against his own Oba. It was even aided by his wife, Emokpolo. The Mokpolo devised a dance. What is that dance? I think Ugeudu. There's a name of that dance. The original beating Ukuseni, the Mokpolo, or Ukuse. There's a dance that was invented by Mokpolo, the wife of Emokpa Ogbe. Ukuseni re where the ancestral home of the Ologose along Apapava, the original one, Namion. But they eventually, Emokpa Ogbe was defeated, was killed, then the wife was captured and brought to Benin and all of that. That was the story. So why am I bringing all of this? Now know that Emokpa Ogbe was an Enoge of Ugo. His original name was Emokpa Ogbe. But he went to the Ika areas and he was given another name. A lot of historians now mistook his original name for his nickname. Just like what happened to Ezechima. That was not his name. I've said it 1,000 times. Just like our people doesn't just want to hear. His name was Ihimi. In Iseluku, is remembered as Ihime. A kind of a corrupted version of the original word. Ihimi. He was named when he got to Igbo land as Ezechima. That was the name he became known, more popular as. But that was not his Benin name. His original name was Ihimi, who was nicknamed Ezechima. Along the time he was traveling from the center of Benin, where he came from, when he was called Ihimi, when he was moving towards the east, the farther he moved from the east, the farther his name begins to change. All right? It is still archived in the Isoluku history that he was called Ihime, and not even Ezechime. Along the line, his name eventually changed sporadically. But that was not his real name. So it is wrong now to assert that the greeting of Live Eze, Eze Nozua, was as a result of Ezechime. Because he was not known as Ezechime or Ezechima in Benin. That was what he was called when he got to the Igbo country. That was what he was known as the Igbo country. Our people need to edify their spirit with truth and forget about the lies being lied to. I will tell you how Live Eze came about. It came during the time of Obaoro Bua. Obaoro Bua's grandfather was Ozolwa. Exactly, Ogbemudia glory. Obaoro Bua's grandfather was Ozolwa. When Ozolwa defeated some present-day Akka land, notably Onitsha, Olona, around those areas, he now put one of his sons. Not one of his sons, sorry. Let me not get this thing wrong. One of his army general was made to be the first Enoge of Onitsha Olona, who was one of the military heads of Obazolo expedition to the Akka country, present-day Akka land. And when, that's what happened. He now became their ruler at a place called Onitsha Olona. Now, I've forgotten the name of that soldier. When the grandson had became the Oba of Benin, he wanted a very dependable soldier who has always stood by his father. So he invited one of the sons of the army general of Obazola, his grandfather, who was stationed out there, to return back to Benin, to now become his Iyase. Now, he has a name. I think one of my friends from Onitsha Olona actually told me the name of that Iyase. He has a name. I've forgotten that name. He has a name. It's a very funny name. But the Benin did not know him as that name. History do not even remember him as that name. Do you know what do you know what it's called in our archival materials? It's called Iyase Obodombem. He's a full-blooded Benin man who was born and raised up in a place that the language is now well dominated by the Igbos. All right, we have had that case, like also the Iyase Iyasoga Akenzwa, the man that was born at Ekiti. He could not speak Benin. He was a full-blooded Benin man, but he was born in Ekiti because his grandfather was one of the soldiers, one of the head military that Oba Seven sent to Ekiti country, present-day Ekiti state, to go and fight. So when his great-great-grandson now became the Oba of Benin. He invited one of the sons or one of the grandsons of that military guy to come and become Iyase. So he could not speak Benin. He spoke Yoruba. I'm just talking about time of Eweka II here. No, it's not almost, I guess. Correct, you get it. Okorotum. Iyase Okorotum. He has a Benin name, a very pure Benin, Okorotum. He was born in Otum, in Ekiti State. Iyase Okorotum. He could not speak Benin. He spoke pure Yoruba language, but he was did you not get the story? So they will not tell you, if the Yorubas are aware, they will not tell you that they gave us Iyase if you are not equipped, if you don't know what I'm telling you now. If you don't know, they're not stationed there, they not give birth to their children there, they not begin to speak Yoruba language. But later on, Obas who understand these things invited some of them. The son of that military was sent forth. He could not speak Benin. So anytime that a Hamobaya is always telling them Obodo Bem. I think Obodo Bem is not a pure word. The Benin obviously could not pronounce it properly. I think they said most of the words he was saying Obodo Bem. I think Yasa was telling me the story that it means something well done. It's something well done or welcome or goodbye. Something. One of those popular words, dictions in the car. All right. So the Benin now gave him, now remember him as Iyase Obodo Bem. Iyase Obodo Bem. I'm sure if the Igbos were aware of this story, they could have also told you that one of the Iyases of Benin was an Igbo man. was an Igbo man. You understand? If they were aware of this particular story, when I listen now, some of them there now, they fit tell you say one of the Iyases of Benin are Igbo man. Because of this explanation, when I listen now, because now so fight on the fight online now. Waman Wari than now. How he's a pure-blooded Benin man whose father or grandfather, I can't really remember, was one of the war veterans of Obaozolwa that defeated some areas, all right, and was stationed there. And that place he was stationed at where he became their ruler. It's Onichao Lona. That is where it's called. I'm very certain of that. It's that particular Onichao Lona. Olona. All right. It was his grandson, either his son or his grandson, that was now invited to become the Yasser of Benin. And by that time, he was born there, so he could not speak Benin. Okay. No. This is taking too long. All right. I think I have to round up now. I don't do live class for that too long. All right. So I want to thank all of you. Stay online. Next week Sunday is going to be even more sweeter. There's going to be lifelines. Get ready. People can call through, can ask. People can call through and ask questions. Can ask questions, and we can be able to interact. It's all about interacting with ourselves, and let's not allow all of these people. You know what? The Biafra country has two obstacles. Two obstacles. The Biafra country. That's what you don't know. The Nigeria government and not the Benin people. The history of the Benin people. That's the two problems they have. The Nigeria government and not any other thing, and the history of the Benin people. That's what they fear. Do you understand? Take these two things. The greatest two obstacles The greatest two obstacles that they have is the Nigeria government and not Benin people, the Benin history. These are the two greatest obstacles that they have. So that is why they will do everything humanly possible to use Benin people here to hit, to bring Benin people down to a point where you no longer believe in yourself, where you no longer believe in your history. That is what they want, because every single place that they go in Delta, every single place that they go in Bayelsa, every single place that they go in River State, we are Benin. It pisses them fucking off. It makes them angry. So they do not hate you as a people, they hate your history. So they are going after your history. Because when they go in Kaland, when they look at how many clans that makes Ika Anyoma, when they discover now 90% of them say we are Benin, they will not say, oh, if you are Benin, why do you speak Igbo language? That becomes a threat. You cannot tell people's story better than themselves. We are Benin. They said Benins are nothing. Nothing, nobody. Is that not what they said? But yet, the Benin that is nothing, everybody says that they are from that Benin. So it's not as if the Benin that they fear and the Benin history. That is why I tell you people, the legacies that our ancestors have created for us is still the pride that we have. We should now start learning how to create our own history, our own legacies for our people. So don't hate them, because they do not hate you. They hate your history. It is your history that is making it almost impossible for them to touch any part of South-South. It is your history that is making it almost impossible for them to penetrate South-South. That is why they hate you. So take it or leave it. So they will do all of the instrument, but we have to play our game. August 28, 2021, where the entire Great Benin descendant will assemble in the capital city of Port Harcourt, where 4 of the 18 kingdoms that makes up River State, 14 are of Benin ancestry, where we're going to bring all of them together. We're going to cover it live for the world to see, where almost about 45 to 50 kings will assemble to say that they are Benin people. We know they make mouth. Now, so I tell one Yoruba Mugu that day, 3 weeks or 1 month ago, say, those Ga people, they be Benin people. He denied. He said, I lie, say, only they go there until he saw the live video. He saw the video that I produced from Nongwa, from Ga State. If any Igbo man is still saying that I don't see start again, go and check my antecedent. I know they make mouth. On the 28th of August, I don't already planned that one. Maybe they make noise for social media. We are working. Some of us are not resting. We are working. We they penetrate. We are working. 28th of August, 2021, we are going to shut down Port Harcourt. We are talking about just a month from now. We are going to shut down Port Harcourt. You will see that when they say Kwere people, Ogba people, Ekpeye people, Degema people, they be Benin. We are using our eyes, saying Koro Koro. So that's what we're doing. So let them talk whatever they want to do. We are working in hand. You understand? Noise on social media doesn't produce result. What produces result is, are you on ground? It's always more on ground than any Igbo groups in Port Harcourt, in the entire River State. My group, Association of Great Benin Descendants, is more on ground. I repeat, is more on ground than any Igbo group in Port Harcourt. If you say I'm lying, August 28th, you come and see. We display our power as always. All right, we're rounding up now. So I thank all of you. God bless you. Kemi nagi nuwari mobo nuwari rioboyi ora dunanowa. to sanu dazi etini cow. Let your ba no nyaido. I've said it in that press conference that the Oba and the Edo people are two sides of a coin. They are inseparable. Let me read it again. I like to. I said, he said, these situations, if allowed to linger more, is believed will further destroy the very existence of our unique race. We must therefore reinstate clearly that the Oba and the Edo people are two sides of a coin. They are inseparable. Every intended gathering to separate this unbreakable cord enmeshed in the sacrosanctity of our native promulgated law, we further, you understand, we further draws even closer to our God King. The more they try to separate us from our King, the more we go, they like her, they love her the more. Agbabuno. Edo Oba Edo, it's a thing that is unbreakable. So make una just a try with the love and the more. But yeah, was it. So I will see you guys on next week on Sunday by 7:30. All right, get ready. Next week Sunday is going to be very explosive. It's going to be very explosive. There's going to be an open line for us for people to call through and ask some of the questions after I'm done with my history class, so that you can ask questions and we can trash some of the things out collectively. Why I always say, Oba talk by you. It's